Last class we started we discussed about some range of address for which we need not obtain any allocation from these authorities. So these are these range of address. You may be familiar with this 172 point and 192 point. These are all address which are called private address. And when we use private address, some sort of translation should be there to the outside world when you access the internet. So that is done by NAT router, network address translation. Some sort of address translation should be there. So any organization can use these address without permission. They are unique within the organization, but not globally. Many other organizations could be using similar address at the same time within their uh, network. However, there will be address translation. So this is what we had seen. There is a NAT router, network address translation router. So we are having private addresses without any obtaining any permission from the authorities. We can have these addresses. So this router has itself a private address which is part of this, and it has a global address this side. This runs the NAT software. Now this private address is not known to rest of the internet. They only see this NAT router. So what happens is one of the machines is sending an address. The source would be the source. Source is the address of the sending machine. Source address would be this one. Now when it reaches router, it has to go through the router. Now to the outside world, it will put another address. It is the address of this router. But this router knows that this has come from this specific thing, node. So it will create a table that this node has sent to this address, and this was the source address, and that will be maintained in a table. So outgoing packets go to router, and which replaces source address in packet with global NAT address. The source address is changed here from this to this. And when it comes from the internet, the destination is destined to this source. However, this will route to the machine from which it had come, looking at the table. All incoming packets pass through router, which replaces the destination address in the packet NAT router global address with appropriate private address. So this will happen. So it has to maintain a table. So it has this translation table. So when it translates by sending, it will keep note of the destination address. When response come back, router uses the source address to find the private address by consulting this table. Now, what if two machines send to same address? If two machines nodes in the private network are having the same destination address, so that could happen. So since NAT router has only one global address, only one private network host can access the same host. So only one among the private network, one host can access the external host. To remove this restriction, what this NAT router does is it will increase the amount of columns in this table. So it has added port number of this private machine and the port number of the external machine. So these are appearing in TCP. We haven't seen that TCP part. So like we have IP address, like we have physical address, which are there in the network layer and in the link layer. There is a port address in the transport layer. So if you combine these two, port address which is there in the transport layer A combination would be unique. So two machines, even if they have same address and different port address, they can access the external address, same port. So additional details will be required because the port address is in the transport layer, means that header of the transport layer will be there in the payload of the network layer. At the transport layer, header of the higher layer will be encapsulated as a payload in the transport layer, and the header of the transport layer would be encapsulated as payload in the network layer. So it is available. So it can use more columns and then resolve this issue. So NAT, it is used, network address translation is used normally by ISPs, internet service providers. They get only 10,000, obtain only 10,000 address, and by granting, they are granted only 10,000 address, but it has the 1,000 address. They obtain only 1,000 address, but they make use of 10,000 addresses inside by making using of this NAT. So this was done in IPv4. Now I had told that from where you obtain this internet address, IP address. So this ICANN I have told Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers. Now you have these ISPs whom you approach. You approach the ISPs at the local level or regional level or national level. Different tiers of ISPs are there. Now, between these, there are certain other authorities. You just note those: Internet Assigned Number Authority, IANA. And that is an international global authority. And Asia Pacific NIC, Network Information Center, Asia Pacific. So this is an Internet Address Registry. RIR stands for Registry of Regional Internet Registry. Regional. So there are 5 regional internet registries across the globe, and one concerning us is this Asia Pacific NIC, APNIC. This is the registry, one of the 5 in the global registries, RIRs, which is specific to our country, APNIC. So this pertains to a Asia Pacific region. So India falls in that, and this IRIAN is Indian Registry for Internet Names and Numbers. There is another body at our national level, which is Indian Registry for Internet Names and Numbers. This is a national internet registry. This is a regional internet registry, APNIC. And this is in India. This functions under National Internet Exchange of India, NIXI. So they maintain this .in domain, this agency, NIXI. Maybe this came first and this came later, and this came in 2012, I think. So there are many bodies who are looking at this IP address allocation, starting from ICANN up to the ISPs. Many bodies are there. This is the Asia Pacific APNIC is the Asia Pacific, and this is specific to India. And this NIXI maintains this .in domain. And from where they get allocation for these ISPs. ISPs are members of that. So that is how this IPv4 went. However, this depletion of address was noted, and it was envisaged early itself. So there were many meetings. There was one IPv5 which didn't come out. Then IPv6 was there. So it is a lot of discussion go on, and lot of members will be there, and they will propose many other bitpath, many other length. Finally, 128 was decided. So despite all short-term solution, the short-term solution in IPv4 is classless addressing, which we had seen. This mask is variable. NAT is by making use of private address and network address translation router, we can add the number of address. However, with all this, address depletion is a long-term problem for internet. So then lack of accommodation for real-time audio video, which became prevalent later on in data usage. So because of this, these were the motivations for IPv6. In spite of all these other technologies which we used like classless addressing, NAT, etc., this IPv6 became necessity, and finally this length is 128 bit. IPv5 was not there, it was discarded at some stage. So this is IPv6. Many proposals were there, but they have decided, they took this 128 bit long was adopted. So IPv6 address is 128. So 128 is divided into 16 bytes sections. 16 bytes sections. So 16 bytes are there. So each with 2 byte here, like that 8 sections. So 16 byte is divided into 8 sections, each of 2 bytes. 2 byte means 4 hex. In 1 byte there is 2 hex. So 2 byte will be 4 hex. So 8 combination, 8 string of 2 hex, 4 hex, which is separated by colon. So actually this is a single binary, 128 length long binary bit. That is the address at the IP network layer. The source address in IPv6 would be 128 bit long in a particular field of the header of network layer. So network layer will take the transport layer whole thing, the payload plus transport layer header, and it is encapsulated as the payload in network layer, and it will add a header. Network layer will have a header. So I haven't discussed about IPv4 header and IPv6 header. That we will discuss in a later class. So in that there will be one place where we will look at the, we will put the source address. So IPv6 address is in binary there, and hexadecimal colon notation, 8 section each of 2 bytes, i.e. 4 hex digits. So address is 32 hex digits. Every 4 bits, 4 hex bits, 4 hex digits separated by colon. Every 4 hex digits separated by colon. So this is the readable form, human readable form, this second one. Now you can abbreviate this. This one, there are certain means of abbreviation, leading zeros of a section. So if there is 00 stands for, you can omit this 00. So leading zeros, not the trailing zeros, not this one, other zeros. So leading zero of a section can be eliminated. If there are consecutive section of zeros, we can use a double semicolon. So here there are consecutive section of zeros, 12 zeros in hex are there. So this can be abbreviated, and there are a run of zeros. If there are, this is one run of zero, this is another run of zero. If there are 2 runs of zero, only one of them can be abbreviated using a double semicolon. So these many zeros will be put as a double semicolon. So FDEC is there, 74 is there, then a double colon is there, which will represent all this run of zeros, and B0FF, then this is 0, and FF0. So this is the more abbreviated form of this IPv6. Now, there are 128 bits, and there are different types of address. Basically, we will look at this provider-based unicast address. By now, you should be knowing what is unicast. You are specifically sending to a destination, that is unicast. And provider is ISP provider based. This is the most general form. And in this, the leftmost bit will be 010. And others describe different types. These other combination may be reserved or unassigned or ISO, IPX novel. There are other types also. Geographical based unicast address is also there apart from this provider based unicast address. So normally we have this provider based unicast address. So this fraction shows that of the total IP address, 1 by 8 is this one. This is the allocation, 1 by 8. So maybe only 3 bits are used here. There more bits are used, it is 1 by 256. These types are lesser in number. And there is geographical based unicast address also. So multicast address is there. So there is a prefix for IPv6. These are the various prefix. So we'll just look at this one, provider based unicast address. So the initial starting bits, if it is this 010 combination, it denotes a provider based unicast address, which totally take up 1 by 8 of this total space, because 3 bits are used here already. So this is a prefix for provider based unicast address, which we normally have. Normally we have all this sort of this type of IPv6. So type identifier is 3 bits. So the type, so provider based 3 bits. Now I told of registry agencies, etc. 5 bits are next. See, APNIC, Asia Pacific NIC. So that is indicated here. Then provider identifier, ISP. So who is the ISP provider, etc. So all these are coming in this address as prefixes, provider. Then subscriber identifier is 24 bits, which is for organizations. And subnets are 32 bits, which is within the organization. Each subscriber can have subnets. And finally, node identifier. So this is the combination of bits for a provider based unicast address. So out of the total 128 bits, this is the division of bits. Now, apart from this unicast, you can have multicast also. Multicast packet is sent in a multicast address will be delivered to every member of the group. Multicast means a group, a subset. Broadcast means all the sets. So it will be delivered to every member of the group. There is also anycast. That I haven't put this slide. Anycast means it will be delivered only to the nearest member of the group. Only one member of the group it will send. That type of addressing is also there. So this is the format for multicast address. So these are the different types of address, and we just saw this one type, which is the provider based unicast address, and this is the normal abbreviation of this IPv6. Now there are reserved address, certain reserved address. So unspecified. So reserved address in IPv6. So this category, it all starts with zeros. It all starts with zeros. Let me just check this. Okay, it all starts with zeros, reserved type. So suppose they cannot be allocated. They are reserved for certain uses. So one use is unspecified. The host does not know its address and sends an inquiry to find its address. So then this is the address used. All zeros. All 128 are zeros. Now the another condition in which it is used is loop back. This is used by host to test itself without going into the network. So it can just one bit here. Others are zero. Is used for loop back to test itself. Now compatible. Compatible is here all zeros, 88 bit zero. Then here comes the IPv4 address. So it is 32 bit. Everything else is zero. So your transition is happening from IPv4 to IPv6. So point of time, many of them will be IPv6 and many of them will be IPv4, and transition is going on. So here also we have IPv6 providers in India also, but not everyone is IPv6. Many are IPv4. So compatible, most of us are IPv4, using IPv4 address. So compatible for transition from IPv4 to IPv6. So a computer using IPv6 wants to send to another computer using IPv6, but needs to pass through network operating in IPv4. In between network is operating in IPv4. This is the type of address combination used. And then there is another one, mapped. Computer migrated to IPv6. So here all ones are there. So all ones out of this 88, 72 or 0. Computer migrated to IP but wants to send using IPv4. Computer has migrated to IP, wants to send a packet still using IPv4. So then you can use this. So these are some of the reserved address. And I will stop today's class at this point because next topic is a continuous one. So I just finish this IPv6 portion.